Mediation is a voluntary dispute resolution process. So both you and your spouse would choose to enter a mediation process. And a mediator is one who is not acting as a judge or a court commissioner or an arbitrator. Rather, a mediator is not making decisions for you. A mediator is your guide, really, at finding maybe a third side. So there's your side, there's your spouse's side, maybe there's a third side. And the mediator's job is to make sure each of you feels heard, that both of your interests are being brought to the table, that all information and documents and whatnot are being considered, so that you and your spouse can come to a common ground and make decisions that affect each of you and your children and your family for the rest of your lives. Litigation really means court, or like court proceedings. And it's different from mediation in that you basically put together your documents and your presentation, your oral argument to the court, whether it's for like a temporary orders hearing, like a short-term temporary decision that a court commissioner would make. So someone wearing a black robe would make temporary orders and decisions affecting you and your spouse and your children and your family, your finances, parenting, whatnot. Or it could be a final determination made if you wait for your trial date to come up and you want the judge to decide your case. Again, it would be someone in a black robe who's receiving all of your documents, all of your information, all of your evidence, oral arguments, whether you present them or your lawyer presents them to the judge, and the judge makes certain findings and conclusions of law and enters final orders. It can involve discovery, so kind of beginning, middle part of your case. There might be things like interrogatories, requests for production of documents, subpoenas, a lot of exchanges that happen under our civil rules for procedure and also our evidence rules for how you exchange documents in the course of litigation. So there is a cost differential between choosing the litigation route and choosing the mediation route and choosing yet another route, collaborative divorce. And I would say the other two are going to be more cost effective. Litigation tends to be the most costly. Usually attorneys are going to charge a higher rate, number one, than a mediator would charge. And also, when you have an attorney representing you for your litigated matter, your spouse is also paying, potentially, likely, an attorney to represent him or her. So you're both paying hourly, typically, rates to two lawyers, whereas when you go to mediation, you're sharing that. Of course, you can go to mediation with lawyers, and sometimes that makes sense, especially if you've been engaged in litigation and you're trying to avoid trial. But a lot of people will choose to mediate and come without their lawyers and reach resolution and final decisions with the mediator rather than through their lawyers. And so that process can be more cost effective. Collaborative divorce involves two lawyers, independent legal counsel, but they have mediation training. And so they advocate for each of you. They're still your representative. They still represent your best interests. And at the same time, they're able to work as a team to collaborate and work toward a resolution for you and your spouse and your family. Mediation tends to not be an option for people if they really don't want resolution. There are a lot of people out there who thrive in chaos and conflict, and they don't want final decisions to be made. Maybe it's because they don't want the divorce to happen in the first place, or maybe it's because they really kind of thrive in conflict. So people need to be able to come to the mediation table with open hearts and an open mind and a willingness to really roll up their sleeves and do the work. And it means having the conflict right at the table, right? So you're working through the conflict to get to the other side. So I think first and foremost, good faith is a requirement for mediation to work. Just having an open mind, open heart, and trusting that there is an outcome that is a good outcome for you and also for your spouse. If you have any further questions about process options in your divorce, contact us at clearwaterpnw.com.